Hello everybody, this is SeetherCord and welcome to yet another installment of SeetherTalks, episode 5. It's glad to know that it only took me about 2 whole months to get to the next episode, even though I pretty much did predict that it was going to take me forever to get to that point. So yeah, I expect about another year until we get to like the double digits of the series, so that's just great. So today I'm going to be talking about the furry fandom and certain, I would say, personal horror stories that I have experienced online within social media pertaining to the furry fandom or so. And this more so is not just kind of like a roast or a rip of the furry fandom as a whole. It's just, certain bad or, certain notable and slightly terrifying, I shouldn't say terrifying, but just notable experiences of events that have happened on particular social media platforms pertaining to other furries. Most of which do come from Skype, I will say. So pretty much the title is Furry Fandom Skype Horror Stories. So I want to give a little bit of a rundown as to where all of these came from pretty much. So back in the beginning of 2016, I pretty much got started getting big with meeting a lot of people in the furry fandom through a Skype group community that was known as Skype Furries, which at this point is pretty much dead since Microsoft pretty much ruined Skype, and now every person in the furry fandom that was on Skype has pretty much moved to Discord at this point. That group is pretty much all dispersed and everyone's like all over the place now and not together anymore. But sad that came to an end, but kind of glad because as time went on, it started really good in Skype Furries when I was there, but then eventually it just faded into complete and utter nothingness and just absolute horror. So pretty much the first thing I'm gonna pertain to is a personal story involving a certain topic that is a little bit, gonna be NSFW or not safe for work, which I usually don't talk about things like this to an extent in the terms of inappropriateness, but I really don't care. And if you don't want to hear that, you can really just, skip over that or so, but just viewer discretion advised pretty much. If you have kids watching this, first of all, I would really question your parenting skills because I don't know why you would let children watch this terrible YouTube channel, which I own. It's gonna shock them for life. But anyway, just be aware. First story I'm gonna go into is a personal story involving a guy with his particular fetish that got exposed and a certain thing happened. So pretty much I want to clear out of the way, I'm pretty sure everyone who's gotten involved with like a big Skype community, be it for whatever kind of community, be it for like furries or Call of Duty or bronies or whatever, those groups or communities, they tend to have certain people that want to start their own groups or start little private groups for like 2 or 3 or so people. So I'm pretty sure a lot of people who are on those communities for that main group a lot will recognize and, feel for me on this, which is in term of being added to another group and then like with a really weird name that eventually dies out after a day, and you just have like a bunch of like dead Skype groups that you're stuck in. Because pretty much that's one of the worst things ever. And I'm not gonna deny I did have my own little group, but that was like that for like a day or two, and it was called Little Seether's Pizza. Oh god, I like the name though. I won't deny that, I like the name. But involving one of the groups I was in, it eventually faded into nothingness after like a day or two. And pretty much what happened, there was like, when it comes to those like, off the wall, groups you could add to that die after a day, they tend to really not have that many rules, or like they say they like to, but then no one really gives a crap because, the moderator is like a 12-year-old or something. So eventually what happened is I was still in that group, even though I would never message in it. The group itself would eventually just go into doing nothing but spamming porn or suggestive images of certain things that they particularly like involving furries, which, let me just clear out of the way, I don't have a problem with whatever particular kink or fetish you have, but when you're going to put that out in the open when it's clearly not supposed to be there, and a bunch of people who aren't into that, or you can pretty much can assure that most people are not going to be into that, are going to see that out there, it's kind of unnecessary. But the thing that stood in my mind, I was in that group, and then after I saw for a bit, like, okay, people were posting their pictures, okay, I'm gonna leave this, but right before I was ready to leave, this one person posted a picture of themselves sitting like in the Tom Cruise man-spreading thing, and they were in like a My Little Pony crop top shirt. Guy was 30-something years old and had an adult diaper on in the man-spreading beanbag chair with like just pretty much his crotch hanging out. And I was just like, okay, I now have more validated reason to leave. You can enjoy that if you want, but I am personally just gonna go. So, goodbye, it was nice knowing you, bye. Pretty much one of the most notable things that have ever happened to me within the furry community and will probably stick in my mind until the day I die. Good times. The next thing I'm gonna go into is a personal problem that really does annoy me, and it involves e-begging. If you don't know what e-begging is, it's pretty much begging for money on the internet for whatever purpose, which 99% of the time I don't usually agree with, because usually all the times when I see that, it's usually just person wants the money, not for like for something that's not of any real like importance. Like I need money for this new video game or so, and I'm just gonna beg for money for it. And that's most of the cases. But there are certain times I can understand, like, yeah, I need that. If you have a really legitimate reason and you show proof and reasons of why you need it, then yeah, I can understand. But when I was on Skype, I noticed a few certain furries, not gonna say names, but certain individuals who would personally ask me for money, which, okay, I'm not gonna get completely mad if you ask me for like some money, but when you asked me for like $80+ and their reasoning was being, I need money for food because I don't have a job and such. And personally, just the fact that I hardly know you, and also because of the fact that just because I say, hey, I personally can't afford to pay you right now, I'm sorry, and then you start to use like certain like emojis or so, or like use the asterisks so they do like an RP thing and like say like looks up at you with a sad face, pretty much trying to emotionally manipulate me to get my money. I get a little bit mad at that, and that makes me more than likely continue towards not going to give you money. So now, since we've gone from a story of complete disturbance to a story of more so anger-driven, or more so anger-inducing, we're going to go on to the last one, which involves a more so kind of hilarious / unfortunate kind of call that was made over a slight mistake, and also out of just not a sense of caring. So, this last story that went on within a Skype Furry group, which I'm not going to give out any names at all, but there was this one particular person, was this guy, and he had a girlfriend, and he brought his girlfriend over to his house while he was on a Skype call, and then he was going to be like, hey, I'm going to go spend some time with my girlfriend, I'll be back in a bit. And he was like, and everyone was like, okay, and I was on the call too, and there was like a few others. But the thing is, the guy said he was going to mute his microphone, he forgot to, and then when he was gone for a bit, he came back, and we started to hear some noises, and we heard this person was having very loud sexual interaction with his girlfriend. We noticed that this person was having sex with his girlfriend in the Skype call, not knowing that he did not mute his microphone, so all of us heard it, and we tried to let him know, but he didn't hear us because he was just going like banging him so hard and like yeah, that's really funny, but it's also really unfortunate. But yeah, that wraps up those three notable stories. And other than that, I wasn't really going to try to go for more so like drama stuff, because furry communities and all communities pretty much are notorious for their drama and such. But I didn't really want to focus on that. I wanted to more so focus on stories that more so pertain to just things that stuck out of my mind, and more so not just because of like drama induced stuff, because there's drama everywhere in this community. I'm not going to deny that whatsoever. And pretty much those stories pretty much stuck out in my mind the most, and it was nice to know that I had some stories that weren't more so involving of just stress-inducing drama, and more so just of notable, funny, and slightly disturbing stuff that I encountered online in the furry community on social media. So that pretty much wraps up this episode of SeetherTalks. I am doing my hardest to make sure I can actually continue this series and like get more out on a more frequent basis. Maybe like 2 a month or so, that would be better. I do enjoy the series when I do it, but then I just feel like discouraged from doing it because it takes a long process to make, and I don't feel like I have enough time to put out a good enough video every week, because I know I'm on a weekly basis of uploading now. I used to upload a few months ago, I used to upload at least 2 videos a week, but now I've gone down to 1. I want to go back to making at least 2, not even a shit post being one of them. I mean like 2 legitimately done edited videos a week. I really do feel like that could help out my channel a lot more, but just the thing is with like time constraints, focusing and juggling school and my part-time job and just everything else, and just working out my free time and avoiding procrastination, it's difficult to like, you know, really push myself to getting that these uploads up, but I am doing my hardest to get that out for you guys. So other than that, that pretty much wraps up this video. Thank you all for watching. More content coming in soon, and I've been SeetherCord, and I will see you guys in another video. So goodbye.